Hello, ladies. Hello. Welcome to today's live. Good afternoon. If you're on the West Coast, good morning. How's everyone doing? So in today's live, if you just happen to catch this, if you were not scheduled already with us, today's live is we're speaking about what happens when the narcissist blames their abusive behavior they blame it on their past trauma. Okay. Hey, Miggy, welcome. So while everyone is coming in, let me just put my comment real quick. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I love this topic because, I'm sorry, it's hard for me to type and talk at the same time. All right, give me 1 second. All right, so I love this topic because, can I be honest with you? One of the reasons I do what I do is because I love to blow the whistle. I'm a whistleblower. I love to blow the whistle on injustices, right? And I feel like I have so much experience, not that this is something you want experience in, right? I'd rather be one of those people who's never experienced toxic and narcissistic people. But this is my calling, I believe, from God. But I love to blow the whistle because I believe that a lot of these manipulative strategies, manipulative people use, toxic, narcissistic, however you want to call them, it would not work, or it would work less if people knew how they function and they could see right through it. Like, I see this stuff so quick. It's so quick for me. I see it right away. And I think one of the reasons people don't see it right away is because they don't want to be accused of being paranoid or being too judgmental. I don't care. Call me paranoid, call me whatever. If I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. And I pray sometimes that I'm wrong about people if I see certain things. But I'm not going to deny what I see, what God is telling me, what my intuition is saying. So I love this topic for that purpose. Welcome, ladies. Who's coming in here? Thanks. Let me know where you're coming in from. Hey, Iris. Let me know where you are. So for those of you who are new here, let me know if you're new here. Just put a 1 if you are new to me. My name is Nailah Abdullah. I'm a former mental health therapist, clinical social worker, and I am now a toxic relationship coach. And I work with women, helping them to learn how to heal themselves from the pain, from the trauma, how to rebuild themselves, find themselves again, and how to really, honestly, I want to make sure you're not here next year watching my channel. Okay, I like having you here, don't get me wrong, we can connect on a different level, but too often I see people, consuming all of this content about toxic and narcissistic people, but they're still stuck. Even if they're out of the relationship, they are still, dealing with the aftermath. There's a lot of aftermath that comes along with a breakup from a toxic or narcissistic person. It's not a normal breakup. So that is what I do. I am also the founder of Thrive. That is my new exclusive community for women after toxic relationships. That is a space where you can come into for support, for guidance. It has classes, I provide coaching, but it is basically fast forwarding you so you're not dragging this chapter of your life out. You don't have time for that. God has a purpose on your life, and it is not to deal with toxic and narcissistic people. So if that's something you're interested in, I have a comment pinned here, comment Thrive, for more information or to join my community. All right, so let's get into the topic. Again, it is when the narcissist blames their abusive behavior on their past trauma. Let me just say this, that is a very common manipulative tactic. Most of you who have been or are in toxic or narcissistic relationships, they are long-term. And what happens is over those years, you have compassion for them. Even in the beginning, you have compassion for them. But the reason they do that is to manipulate you, to get you to tolerate their behavior. They know they picked you. I said picked, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. They picked you because they know that you would have compassion for their traumatic experience. Let me give you an example. I know of a case where a gentleman married to a woman. He was emotionally abusive, psychologically abusive, and at one point in their relationship, also physically abusive. And I understood that there were times where he would hit her and then break into tears about how he missed his mother, about how he missed his grandmother. He was raised by his grandmother. His mother left him at a young age, and he would break into tears about that. And right after he hit his wife, and the wife, instead of protecting herself and scolding him for what he did to her, she would jump into nurturing mode and support him and console him as he's crying, right? They know strategically who they're picking. They pick women who are nurturing, who are compassionate, who tend to put other people before their own needs, who don't like to see other people hurting. Is that you? I'll raise my hand. That's me. That's why I do what I do. That's why I became a therapist and now a coach. I don't like to see other people hurting. So I do pour out. I do reach out as much as I can. But here's the solution to that. I'm not telling you to change who you are. I'm not telling you not to be compassionate, but we have to be wise. We have to realize that not everyone deserves our compassion, right? Or a certain level of compassion. You know how you show compassion to people who are manipulative and toxic? You pray for them and stay away. That's how you love on those people. That's how you show compassion. But there is never a justifiable reason for someone hurting you. Now, in a lot of cases, toxic, narcissistic relationships, they're not necessarily physical abuse, but a lot of it is emotional and psychological abuse. So even if that person has not hit you or are not hitting you, when they do something to break you, but then they want to say it's because of my past trauma, you have to change your mindset. Healing is about also changing your mindset to say, I'm going to put your issue on the back burner because the issue right here and in the forefront is the fact that you're hurting me, right? We cannot try to heal other people while allowing them to break us. That doesn't make sense. Doesn't make you a bad person. I know a lot of times women that I have worked with, including myself, we pride ourselves on being good people, on helping people, right? We just have that in us. But it doesn't make you a bad person. Relieve that. It does not make me a bad person to put my needs first. I need the basic needs at the very least, respect, right? The next point I want to make to you is when the narcissist blames their abusive behavior on their past trauma, is the fact that people choose how they allow their trauma to mold them, okay? I want you to think for a minute. We can all think of people who have been through really tough times in their lives. I mean, really traumatic. Let me not even say tough, traumatic, right? People who were, I was just listening to Dr. Sonia Stribling. She is a business coach and a motivational speaker. Really love you. You should check her out on YouTube. And I never knew this about her, but in one of her videos, she talked about how she was raped at 17 and left for dead. She didn't go into details, but that says enough to say that that's probably one of the worst things that can happen to you, right? But how did she turn out? How did she turn out? What did she put that energy in towards, right? To become a motivational speaker, to become a business coach, to help uplift other people, right? So we have to think about, and I think sometimes we allow these people, these toxic, narcissistic people to kind of fool us, because most women that I have worked with, including myself, we're intelligent women, right? So it's not really easy to fool us, but I think sometimes it's more comfortable to swallow the BS that they're giving us. Right? But that is another thing to consider, right? Again, healing is about how we perceiving a situation. Just because someone went through a traumatic experience doesn't mean they have to turn out to hurt other people. It says hurt people hurt people. Not all hurt people hurt people. Some hurt people work on healing themselves so they can help other people. It's a choice. I know of a case where this young woman was in a narcissistic relationship, and she said he shared with her that he is hurting because his mother abandoned him and he had to be raised by his grandmother. Another example where they know, even if you're still pissed at them, they know that it's going to be in the back of your head like, oh, let me give them an extra chance or a pass because, you know, they went through a lot. Everybody goes through things. I remember I had a situation, I was talking to one of my siblings, and I was talking about a cousin that's very mean, very cruel. And I said, yeah, well, maybe, she had a tough childhood, or this one wasn't there and that one wasn't there. And my sibling said, but Nailah, you lost your mother at 10 years old. You left home at 12. You lived with different people. You moved from a little small Caribbean island to the middle of the hood. You've seen things you shouldn't have seen at that age. And look how you turned out. You made sure that you secured your life. You set your life up where you can, one, always provide for yourself, so you don't have to be, depending on other people in the way that you had to during your teenage years. You made sure you picked a field where you can serve and help other people, right? Like, it's choices, guys. We all been through stuff. So anytime you see a narcissist, toxic person, anytime you see them trying to pull that card that I have a traumatic past, and this is why I'm acting the way I'm acting, and I'm mean, and I'm hard, and I'm doing whatever, I talk the way I talk, that is a choice. They're making a choice, okay? The last point I want to make to you is that if the trauma that they went through is that bad, it might be, right? It might be worse than something you've experienced. Then the reality is they should not be in a relationship. Okay? We have to understand that we can care for other people. We can support other people. We can have compassion for other people. But some people just should not be in relationships. And I know that's a scary feeling for those of you who are still in toxic and narcissistic relationships. That's a scary feeling to say, so what you say, Nailah? I'm just supposed to let go? I know it's hard. I know. Trust me. I was in a 10-year relationship. I am not one to want to hop around. I was at the end of my 20s. I'm at the end of my 30s now. But at that time, I was at the end of my 20s. I thought I would be starting a family. I did not want to start over. So I get it. But we have to understand, and we have to set better standards for ourselves, right? Everybody comes into relationships with baggage, with stuff, because that's life. But there should only be a certain amount of baggage. And then we have to know, too, how much baggage am I willing to accept? How much baggage? I was talking to a girlfriend of mine the other day, and we were talking about, the choice of dating someone who has children versus who doesn't have children. And I said, I always said I don't want that, because I don't want the burden of, a baby mother without being able to find a better term for that, right? I don't want to have to deal with that. Now, of course, as you get older, things might change, right? Because as we get older, people do have, children of other people and things like that. But I always said that's not something that I don't think I have the capacity to handle that. But it's so important to know what is your limit, what is your capacity, right? I remember speaking to a young lady, and she was dating someone who had, I forgot his diagnosis. I think she said he was diagnosed with some form of autism. He was also in the military, and he would do these things that was very, let's just say, psychologically abusive, cause a lot of confusion. And let me just say, abusive means causing ongoing harm or pain to someone. Okay, even if it's not consistently and it's periodically, but it's consistent. It's over time, right? It's repetitive, right? So that's abusive, because I know a lot of times people say, well, maybe that this doesn't apply to me because I'm not really, how did I get this thumbs up? That doesn't really apply to me. I'm not really being abused. I used to say the same thing, and I was a mental health professional at the time, right? But we can be in such denial, right? But if someone is causing pain to you without any remorse, and it's repetitive, even if it's not every day or every week, right? Because these types of people who are manipulative, toxic, narcissistic, they're very good at, mixing in a little bit of good with a little bit of bad, right? To confuse you. But if you had to sum it up overall, if you're listening to this video, it's a sign that you are dealing with abuse. If not, you would not be here searching this content right now. Okay? For those of you who are just coming in, I just want to remind you to comment the word thrive to join my community. This is a supportive membership group for women after toxic relationships. It's for you if you are still in a toxic or narcissistic relationship and you want to get out, but you are scared. You're scared to do it alone. You're scared to know what's next. You're scared to know what you should do next, what's next for you, what's next for the family, what they're going to do next. There's a lot of fears that come along with detaching from a toxic or narcissistic person. This is a safe space, a safe community for you to come in and get the guidance you need. Learn how to rebuild yourself. Learn how to find yourself again. Learn how to heal from that pain. And healing is not just releasing the pain, but healing is also evolving to a new version of yourself where you can trust yourself again in relationships. You can learn how to trust other people again. All right. So I hope this was helpful for you, ladies. Go ahead and comment Thrive if you want any more information or to join the community. It is only $47 a month. I also have a one-on-one coaching program. It is, however, very limited. There are a few spots open for the month of August. So if you're interested in that, you can DM me or comment one-on-one here, and I can send you information on that as well. But what I love about Thrive is that it's ongoing, and you can choose, you can cancel at any time, you can choose when you want it to stop. But this is a safe space that you always have to tap into. All right, I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you next time.